Hello everyone to the first Shadow Show, Shadow Radio, so to speak. I'm just going to get on the list and answer your questions pretty quickly. I'm going to try to take it one step at a time. The first one we have is Deborah Burns. She asks, what are my thoughts on ransomware? Well, I think it's despicable. I know that there's many people out there who use their skills to gain financial goals, but that's despicable because mostly people can't defend against that because they have not the expertise. It's going to cost them money to take out their computer to a repair shop, and if they are vulnerable, they put their information in that can lead to identity theft, so that's not a good thing. So yeah, I can't fathom why people would do that to other people. Yeah, you see, that's what a country of money makes. So the next question we have here is from Luna Blitz. For someone waiting to get into InfoSec, do I believe schooling or college is a good tool? Absolutely. If you have the chance to go to college or school for InfoSec, do it. It's not only the interaction between you and the others, but you want to keep yourself around like-minded people. Computer people, people who have an IQ above, 80. So information is changing every day, so you have to keep, feeding your mind with knowledge. So we're gonna go to the next question here by Kristen Madison, and I guess it's a 6-part question. So I'm going to start with one. What is my personal setup like? Motherboard, CPU, drives, OSs. Well, I don't use very high-end equipment. Most of my high-end equipment was taken from me recently. We won't discuss that. We'll discuss that at a later time. However, but anyway, generally what I do is work off laptops. My servers are on a rack somewhere. When I serve the library and I serve my other content, that's always a provider, because the overhead to run something like that from your home is too much. I'd rather have that stuff ran from a server rack like GoDaddy or something. But anyway, my baby computer, the laptop that I love, is my Alienware M17 R3. It's a 17-inch monitor, quad-core with 30 gigs of RAM and 500 gigabyte solid-state drive with dual graphics cards. Actually has 3 graphics cards in it. You can look up the specs, M17X R3 for Alienware if you want to see something about that. The next thing you ask is, you want to start a career in InfoSec, where do you start? Well, the first thing you have to start doing is taking some computer classes. Get into college, take some classes, you're going to have to start with math. How should you check your systems for vulnerabilities? Well, you have to tell me what system you're using, because that's going to depend whether or not you run Windows, whether or not you run Linux, whether or not you run OS X. So there's any number of ways to protect your systems. It's always a good idea to unplug your network cable at night. Just, don't leave your computer plugged in all night. It's just a safety precaution that I do. Just unplug your computer network cable. My thoughts on degrees versus certs. I'm all for degrees rather than certs. I think certifications are just a money scam, just like anything else. A+ certification is just a waste of time. If I wanted to learn what a plug was, I would go, that's ridiculous. Spend your time getting your degree. And just for fun, what's better, Star Wars or Star Trek? I can't say which one I like better because they're both wonderful. I can't really go against either one of them. Anyway, next we're going to move on to Matthew Williams asking, deploying and using Security Onion, deploying and using Succubus. I haven't studied up on those 2 specific topics, so I'm not going to comment really heavily on there. If you're referring to Onion Network or Security Onion for Tor, I don't use Tor anymore. Of course, when you have something good like that, someone's gonna ruin it. It's gonna come about where somebody's gonna do something that they shouldn't be doing, and that's always happens, and everybody else has to suffer for the indiscretions of the moronic. So, Bryant Nakamura here, we have next, he's attempted to answer questions. He said, did the way the situation was handled by Sony considered good? I think that Sony handled the situation good and put out the movie. Yeah, I mean, in America we have free speech. If you're gonna, give in to demands of, terroristic people and things like that, that's ridiculous. We just, where's that gonna end? Yeah, I think Sony did a good job releasing this thing, I don't know why everybody's so mad at Sony, but, hey, they put out some good stuff, right? So, Bill Beers here, next one, here's, what, tech does the U.S. need to leapfrog in order to get ahead of, POS, POS, I'm assuming that you're talking about point of sale. I think the point of sale systems were kind of overlooked because most people were attempting to take care of servers in banks or higher priority targets rather than smaller targets such as consumer based. But you'll learn that a lot of the software and a lot of the POS software needs to be updated. It definitely needs some patches. So I can't really comment a lot on POS because I've only done it a short period of time, so I'm by no means an expert on POS machines. However, I've been introduced to them. They do seem a bit sketchy sometimes. I've never seen a Linux-based POS system, though. We're going to move on here to J Plank. Okay, no, we're not. What's the best GPU for brute force? Lloyd Holt asks, what's the best GPU for brute force? I would have to say NVIDIA. NVIDIA does really well with one of those new programs out there that takes advantage of the multiple cores in the graphics cards to break hashes. So that's pretty decent. So I would have to say NVIDIA. I like NVIDIA tools. I don't like the fact that it's closed source, but what can you do? I mean, you use all that graphics power to break hashes, it definitely works. Maximilian Berkman asks, what better in your opinion between an InfoSec IT and an ethical hacker? I think they're one and the same. Okay, if you're going to be an InfoSec, it's a good idea to be an ethical hacker because you don't want to be breaking the law, you don't want to be doing things that are silly or, get yourself in trouble. You want to build something for yourself that you can be proud of and, and help people. If you help somebody, if you help one person at the end of the day, then you can go home and sleep well. And Dima Z here has been working on this cipher, and I know wants the answer to that. But I don't know if I'm going to be able to give you any more information on it. Just think right angles, Dima. I mean, all I can tell you is think about right angles, okay? I mean, I don't use any... I told you that it would be very difficult to break that because I didn't use any of the standardized methodologies when putting that together. So, it's going to be a bit difficult. And when you do actually figure it out, if you do, and don't worry, I will release how to break that here within the next couple months, but I just want to see if anyone's going to do it. But you'll be surprised. The next question here is by Carl L. Okay, the question that everybody asks every computer guy in the world, do I use Linux, Windows, or OS X? Which one do I use? Oh, well, of course I use Linux, Why do I use Linux? I love Linux and I love the open source community, that's why. I love to be able to see what code I'm putting on my machine. It's not for everybody, Windows has every hole that you can think of. Every security hole you can think of has been instantiated in some kind, one way or another with Windows. I can't fathom how you can have every, keep getting holes. But yeah, I use Linux. And just for all those people out there who don't know, OS X is a form of Unix, just so everybody knows. It runs on the Darwin kernel. It's very, very similar. So I just want everybody to know that. So if you're gonna sit there thinking OS X, it's not really different. It just has a fancy desktop. Let's see. With the advent of AirHopper and NetHunter and other pen testing tools for mobile devices, are they becoming more mainstream in the line of work? Absolutely. I think they're going to be in the next couple years. I think we're going to see a new trend or a new sub for InfoSec. Because as we move along with this, data, everything's going to be data now. We're going to need people to secure it. So you're going to definitely have to have some new pen testing tools out as the code evolves and as it morphs into better code. As it, it's almost like a virus. It changes. Everything changes and mutates over time. So yeah, it's going to be mainstream. I guarantee it. And let's see, the next question is, how did lizards ruin my gaming? Well, because I had people coming in from other states. I had people coming in from 3 or 4 different states, and we like to play Battlefield and hook up on a LAN network, and unfortunately that really irritated me because we really wanted to play, and we were all here, and these see, I don't know if kids are going to be listening to this, but I would really like to say a few things. But no, that's ridiculous. That shouldn't have happened. There's no need to do that. And they did it to get Twitter feeds. They did it to get Twitter followers. Do you believe that? Nonsense. Hundreds of thousands of gamers, Man, if I could get my hands on one of them. Let's just move on here. Alright. What are my favorite podcasts? Blogs by Enter Octopus here. My favorite talks are TED Talks. I love TED Talks. TED Talks are great. You can pretty much find anything. If I'm coding or I'm sitting down at the laptop, you can guarantee that I have a TED Talk playing on my tablet or phone or something. I love listening to them. I love hearing them. It's a great thing. Great thing. Most useful IDE or debugger. Most useful IDE? Not really much of IDE anymore. I think back in the day, I think I enjoyed Borland C++ Builder for Windows when I actually used Windows almost 15 years ago, but I don't really use much IDE anymore. If I use any IDE, it's probably going to be Eclipse or PyCharm or something with Python, or because I can integrate into Eclipse with Linux. So that's what I would probably say. My favorite books are technical books. You're asking what are my favorite books? Yeah, I love the technical books. I love the programming books. I love to go through the programming books and try to find better solutions for them. And then you get a little sloppy here, and you ask me what the speed velocity of an unladen swallow is, and I could look that up, but I'm not going to spend the time to do that. I'm just going to acknowledge that you said it, make everybody else look it up. So, and then Clayton Dillard here says he would like to hear my comments on the SoC implementation of Lockheed's app detection and defense based on early phase kill chain disruption. Well, I did some research on that not too long ago. Some pretty interesting stuff, but for me to sit here and talk about that kind of stuff, and I know you don't cheap out on the details. I know exactly what you're trying to do here, Clayton. You want me to sit here and talk about that. But there's some great white papers out. I think you should read it. If you want to hear me talk about it and you want to actually have a talk about it, we can do that. But I don't think that it's going to interest people here. I mean, I could pull out the topics and the top points of it, for a white paper, but I don't think it's good show material at this point. It's just drab. It's kind of dry. Matt Williams asked me if I consider making this show available on the Hacker Public Radio channel. No, I answered that, but you never know. So, keep sending your questions. I enjoy answering them. The shows will get longer or shorter depending on how many questions that you answer. But I do research and vet everything that you guys ask and make sure that you're getting perfect information. So this isn't Fox News. I'm glad that you guys are listening. So this is the first show. It's a little choppy, whatnot. You know, I don't have very good equipment, but I want to keep it on a personal level. I don't want to get in kind of corporate stuff. You know, I want to keep it. I want to talk me directly to you, your security. The drive behind this is because I want everyone to start using encryption. I want everyone to start thinking about their security on a daily basis. I want everyone to start thinking when they go into the store, look who's behind you when you type in your credit card PIN number. You have to look at these things now because everything that we deal with is now on computers, on data, on networks and databases. So this is Shadow signing out for the first episode of Shadow Radio. Please send your comments, complaints, suggestions, whatever, but wait for the next show and please ask more. And this is Shadow signing out, so hope you enjoyed this show. We'll see you.